Hey, Erin, Stuart, can you guys see and hear me?
Yeah,
We
we
can
got
see
you.
and hear you, yes.
Ah, bravo, there you are. First of all, congrats on a great film. I saw it cold and I was really, really blown away. So,
Mm,
Thank you.
Erin,
thank
let's
you.
start with you. Geena has a quandary as a trapped woman, with his very, controlling husband, Clyde. But one of your best scenes is her chance to escape and her fear of not being able to escape. Talk
Mhm.
about shooting that scene in the car and as a domestic violence
Mhm.
survivor, being afraid to leave the abuser.
I think that the complicated thing about this story is that um, we really, really want to put things in boxes. And it's very dangerous to almost say this, but it's really important to say this, that there are very, very complicated scenarios that entail far more complicated emotions than we'd like to admit. Because I think the world feels safer when things feel black and white, right? But one of the most important things that Jai, Stuart, and I set out to achieve was to establish a palpable love that would have once existed between Clyde and Geena. And um, I think that we pick up on the story at a point where obviously there are things going on that manifest in Clyde's abusive behavior and Gina's feeling of suffocation. But I think hopefully by that point we have humanized them enough to show that these are two people going through horrifically painful circumstances, and his actions are not justified. However, she should not be looked at as weak because she still loves him. And I think it's really important to highlight that. And I think it's really important to tell these stories of love where when two people are in love, only those two people know what happens behind closed doors. But if we show enough love at the start of the film, and if we do enough of our own homework that leads in that which entails a backstory that leads into the film, hopefully by that point you can understand why this is the first person who has ever loved her in a way that's felt real. This is the first person that I think he's really loved. And they're damaged people, and it's heartbreaking, and neither of them handle it well. He's the man. And so, because he handles it in the way that he does, and it entails some violence, that is not justified. Domestic violence is not something that I will ever, ever do anything except everything I can to spread the word that it should be less present and more spoken about, because sunlight is a good disinfectant, right? But the point is, she still loves him, and there's a reason for that, and she's not weaker because of that. And that moment of struggle is because once upon a time there was a man that she fell in love with. And sometimes people cannot have, especially when they're raised in an environment devoid of therapy and just devoid of any compassionate figure in their lives, and just they've been abandoned over and over again. This is a hurt man, and this is a hurt woman, and they tried to love each other, and they did, and that's really complicated.
Bravo, great answer. Stuart, you really nailed this in your feature debut. And the isolation that you craft between these two couples is brilliant because you really
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's going to happen. So I was shocked to see this was filmed in the Canary Islands
Yeah.
and not like in the middle of nowhere in West Texas. So number one, talk about getting this cast together and filming in such a remote place. And did that really reinforce the performances?
Yeah. So I'll answer the second part first. It certainly did, and that was what's so unique about the Canary Islands. So I went to, we were going to shoot in Texas, then we were looking at maybe Nevada, and it was very difficult to get a place that felt totally isolated because the way America works is the most isolated, beautiful places are very protected, so you can't really shoot on them. In the Canaries, it was a little bit easier to film. We found this location; it was just breathtaking, and we knew it was going to work so well. And it gave. I'm a big fan of like the idea of creating an immersive experience for the actors, and that's why we didn't. We shot everything in that location. We didn't shoot the trailers in the studio or anything like that.
I
We
will
want,
say, Jai wanted to sleep in the trailer. I was like, no.
yeah, yeah.
That's why I was like, I'm good.
That was
Or
going a bit
he
too
did it
far,
first,
yeah.
and then he saw it, and he was like, maybe not. I feel like it would have been hilarious and so fun, but like immersive within reason.
Yeah, exactly. So
But
we,
yeah.
we, you know, we created the world. Every time we stepped on set, that world was created. You felt like you were on that in Carl Madison commune. The casting process was incredible because we just had such a good response from the script, from actors I never thought would get near a script like this for my first feature. And we all became a family. Like, they were all so in love with each other, and it was just amazing because I'm someone who, you know, really cares about what I do, and to work with people who care just as much. And I think
lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, it was just we you know, we poured our heart and soul into it, and hopefully that can be felt in the film.
You know, one of the things that I thought was very, very interesting is what, you know, Erin, you're talking about earlier, that this is a lot of shades of gray, you know, because in your very, very sharp opening, you think one thing and you think the characters are really basically going to be, you know, cookie cutter characters, but you realize that they're not that way at all. And so when you see what happens, especially with Amaya in the ending, that really surprised me when she gets that, you know, that quote text. And without revealing spoilers, I'm surprised the film went in that direction. Were you surprised that the character did that? I mean, was there like a little bit of anger and vengeance on her part, do you think?
In terms of like, I don't want to give any spoilers away either, but I want to know what you're talking, which moment you're talking, when she gets the text and
you mean when she tells Geena to come back?
When she tells, yeah, exactly. When she tells Geena to come back.
I
Why would she do that? Why would she not set Geena free?
Because she's a human being, and she's not, we're not glorifying, okay? In a glorified movie, she would have done the right thing, but she's human, and that doesn't make her a bad human. But let's be honest, that's something that you get a text about, and given her context, like, let's be honest, it's really a dark one that like a lot of women hopefully can't empathize with, but probably could, in terms of what she's been through up until that moment. It's because she's a human being, and it's okay that she does that. And she tries her best to help Geena, but that's something that'll crack you open. And the reality of that, and then someone transcending that and doing the right thing is great, but that makes the movie cookie cutter in a way that it's not.
Great answer. All right, so Stuart, going back to you, I was really impressed by your filming style, because you go inside the two trailers, and there's one great scene where you're outside the window and you're moving up and down so you can see the background. So you're really showing that the characters are trapped with each other in this wide open, vast space, right? So I was wondering, when you were filming, did you have all this stuff storyboarded as far as the camera setups, or were you kind of like funning and gunning with the, you know, what you thought was best for the script at that point in time?
So I always know the shots before the thing. I do that before you even step on set. And then working with our incredible DP, Aurelian Mara, me and him went through all my ideas. He challenged me where he thought those ideas could be better. And then there were moments where we got on set and we're like, actually, the actors felt like something different was required, and you then find a creative way to shoot. I'm a visual story. I'm very aesthetically focused as a director, and our DP is very similar. So we always challenge ourselves to find something beautiful and something interesting with the storytelling. And with a story like this, you have to, because you get bored very quickly if you just shoot standard coverage.
Great answer. All right, before Mia pulls me away, this is one from the suits in the metrics department. This is for you, Erin. So they want me to ask you, what do you think has been the most controversial moment for the series The Boys that you star in?
I mean, listen, probably controversial, very interesting, because controversial. Okay,
there's about 3 billion to choose from.
Yeah, it's like from the get-go, I'm just like controversial. I would say honestly, maybe because it's not really, because is the shifter controversial? No, that technically not, because that's the shifter. Like, it's a controversial concept, but I actually would say, as of late, it seems to be the fact that Annie left. And I find that really interesting in that final moment. If I'm ruining anything for you, I'm sorry. You won't know what I'm talking about until you see it. But it's like, hello, what has her storyline been about up until this point? She can't do anything internally. She has to be outside to impact change. But people do not like her for that. And I'm like, listen, she's taught you who she is. The girls get it done. and they will again. So it would be
Awesome.
that moment of leaving him. I would say, actually, weirdly, more controversial than the Me Too element, which is funny, but it's more recent, so perhaps that's why.
All right, let me sneak one more question in before Mia pulls me away. And so, it ends with Us is having like a monster box office run, and your film is completely different, except for this certain element. Are you hoping to maybe capitalize on that popularity to boost this film?
Is that a question for me or Erin?
For both of you.
Oh, I think, I mean, I'd like to, I think for sure there's an element of me that's intrigued for audiences to see Erin and Jai and the other actors who they know from these big series and films in a way that they haven't seen them, because the way they transform for this is incredible. It was really breathtaking to me, even knowing what they could do. It was incredible to see in person. So I'm definitely interested in people seeing them in the way they haven't.
Yeah, and that was really cool. And it's I just feel once again so lucky that we did that, because you really need to show people that you can transcend yourself and transform, and you need to show them with the proof of a movie. And I hope I get to keep playing characters that are different from myself, and we'll just do it again. We're just gonna do it again. We're just gonna keep on doing it. He's stuck with me. I'm forcing him. But yeah, no, it's also, anytime a movie like this comes out, I hope it does well, to that, it's a consumerism, it's a consumer driven world like any other industry. And I want consumers to be drawn to this so that we make more of these kinds of films in general, whether I'm in them or not. I just want them to exist.
Bravo, great answer. Thanks for your time. I really enjoyed your film. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.